Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy Shaman Supreme, and for the past month I have had the pleasure of checking out this new 2D indie fighting game made by Satera Studios over in Brazil. This game was fun, it has a lot of nostalgia, and you guys gotta check it out. This game is called Pocket Bravery. Let's do a review. So let's start with the basics. So this is the main menu here, and for a pocket game and for an indie game, they sure did their homework. They have everything that you need for a fighting game fan, for someone who's never played fighting game, and for those who, let's just say, were either born in the 80s era or in the early 90s era, which we'll get to in a little bit. So, with the basics, this game has your story mode. Storyline is actually one of my favorite aspects of the game. As somebody who was born in the late 80s, this has a nice touch of that 80s, 90s action movies. If you ever seen things like, Rumble in the Bronx, Bloodsport, Face Off, movies like that, it has its action, but there's like a comedic undertone, and I really got to enjoy that when playing the game. It does have its, long dialogue, which is one of the negative aspects I can say about it. But overall, the gameplay itself does make up for it. And here we have your typical arcade mode. You get to go to 8 different countries fighting 8 different opponents. Now this isn't only in arcade mode, but I love the intros for each match. For something that's an indie pixel game, they put a lot of effort. Look at that, that animation's awesome. That is sick. And just going down the line from the main menu, we have the other modes, right? When you have a buddy over, you have versus mode. You guys can play in person with each other. For those who like the online gaming, you have your online, and of course they have your typical, ranked rooms and your non-ranked rooms. So I guess the only flaw I would say, if any, is that it's really hard to get some online matches. Besides, it being hard to get casual, it's the same thing with ranked. Lobbying with friends is always an easy thing, but you sit here for a few minutes and you're not really getting much out of it, and that's one thing that's a downfall. And then you have moments like this. This is when it's not fun to play. Another thing that I mentioned before, it's a little bit of an issue when playing online. As for the extra modes, it's pretty straightforward. Trials, time attack, survivor they have. But what makes this unique that I really like, as I mentioned before, is tutorial. Tutorial mode is one of the great things about this game that makes it a lot easier for people who've never played video games or are not familiar with video game terms or even situations. This is where you start. This is how you're gonna get good. It can teach you the basics, right? About movement speeds, learning the controls of the game, right? You want to get a little bit more technical, you can understand using the meters of this game, the archetypes of each character, what makes them so special. And then of course, for those who want to learn about whiff punishing, counters, right? Get a little bit deeper with frame data and stuff. We have technical terms. We have those who actually maybe are a little bit experienced and need to get a little bit deeper. I'm one of those people. I didn't really understand frame data too much. So, when playing this game, this made me understand a lot of terms that I didn't understand. And it's great because, you could use these as tools to get better. This game, though, has something a bit different, right? So it's not your typical training mode. It's Combo Factory. So Combo Factory is basically your tutorial training mode where you can just practice combos that the game gives you, right? So you have your free training mode, right? You have your predetermined mode, which is basically another way of doing combo trials. But they also have build your combo. What's really awesome is while you're utilizing it and you're playing, it will tell you if a combo will land or if it won't land, right? So you could either experiment, learn different techniques, switch characters. It's a really easy way to just build character skills and get better at the game without really having to worry about, is this going to work or not, because the game will tell you. Shop, that's where you're going to get your characters, that's where you're going to get your stages, your additional costumes. With a nice small roster of characters, they actually have a nice small roster of stages too. You have a total of 13, more to collect, right? And besides your typical training stage, right? Yeah, as I mentioned, the nostalgia feel. What stage does this look like here, right? What video game does this come from, right? When you go to some of these stages, you're just going to constantly get that nostalgia feel. Not only from the gameplay, which we're going to break down right now, but from the background, from the character actions, from the small dialogue and interactions that you have. Alright, enough of that chit chat, let's break down the gameplay. So, each character pretty much all the same, right? We have light punch, we have your heavy punch, you have your light kick, right? You have your heavy kick, okay? Each character has their own unique special attacks, right? That makes them who they are. And each character can utilize their special attack in an EX mode, which will use a meter. I'm doing the same move here, but you're just utilizing the EX meter instead. Same thing with this kick air dive that I can do, right? I can come dive in, or instead I can use the EX meter. So wait a minute, speaking of nostalgia, do you see what I see in the back there? And this isn't the only Easter egg in the game. There's a lot more and I didn't get to find them all. If you actually go check out the Statrera YouTube channel, you can directly check this video out, and it shows you their honor that they show to all of the great contributors to the fighting game community. From editors to gamers to YouTubers, you name them, they show love to everyone here. You're probably already seeing some of your favorite gamers. Alright, now back to what I was talking about. So besides the actual, specials that everyone has, right? We also have our throws, right? We have our supers, right? Supers are well animated in this game. I gotta give the credit to the animators on that one. They're really, really good for something that's so pixelated. They really do such a good job on really taking time and making these supers look awesome. And when your health's 30% or less, you end up getting a really cool, once again, well animated super. You would not see this back in the day. And luckily this game allows a lot of space for creativity. You could try out different combos into different supers, and again, well animated, man. I cannot stress that over and over again, right? And like I said, right, we got those flashback, we know moves, right, that we've seen before. Kind of familiar with some of those, I would say, right? In summary, this game is great. This is a game I would recommend to anyone. It has a nice roster of characters, and even though it's a small number, just 13, right? They still have some DLC that's coming out. They have a nice number of stages. This is great for anyone that's, you love fighting games. You've been around for a while. You want something that's a little different. Fighting game era right now, it's almost at its highest peak. We have all of these other games that are coming out, and this is just another taste, and with its indie touch, it gives it its original flair. If you want something different, something that's still strong and has all the great attributes of other fighting games, this is definitely, I would say, to check out.